know, my camera is not turning on at the moment. But it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Liliana Garcia. I am currently working at a low-cost airline called VivaAerobus. I was invited. It's a funny story because I was invited to the conference I think a year and a half ago, and I was working for booking. So we were supposed to have a case about booking, and then COVID passed, and then I changed jobs, and now I live in the Netherlands, but I work in Mexico. So it's about bringing you some really interesting use case about the airline, mostly during this strange COVID time. So what I want to share it with you today is building user-driven, powerful data visualizations, but it goes beyond, you're talking about dashboards. I'm not talking about dashboards. I'm talking about how can we unleash the power of one single digital data point. So for me, if at the end of the talk, you can like start seeing all the different data points and all the different potential of everything that's running us, then I'm very happy with that. A little bit about me. I have a background in finance and economics, but I've never worked in that. I have always worked in data for the last 10 years or so. And my experience is mostly on the digital business. So I work for Walmart, online groceries, for a marketplace in Mexico. And then I moved to Europe for Booking.com. Now I am in VivaAerobus.com. I want to share a bit about what VivaAerobus is, because I know it's not in the European space. So not everything that I want to say there makes sense. So. What's VivaAerobus? So VivaAerobus is one of the biggest low-cost airlines in Mexico. It was founded by Ryanair 16, 17 years ago, and then it was sold. So you can see it as a Ryanair for Latin America. I joined there like around 1 year ago, actually just 1 week before the operation shut down because of COVID. So it was certainly an interesting point, not only from a professional perspective, but from a data perspective. So VivaAerobus have been growing organically for the past 16 years. The market is very big. It has been growing national and international flights. So data was there, but it was not a main need for the everyday working because we were getting passengers. So why should we worry about the rest? We were getting passengers, right? But then COVID hit, and then okay, so what do we do now? So one of the first questions I got, it was okay, so what is people still browsing on the website? What people looking for? When those people want to buy or to fly again? And we did not have that information at hand that easy, but our sales, they are mostly digital. So around 70% of our sales are from our own website. So if you see it that way, then we have a gold mine with our website. So just to I know we probably think about the different news and stuff, but this is what happened last year. So this is from Flight Radar 24, and then we were just at this part last year, and then actually we don't have the updated one, but in our current operation in Viva, we are already past 2019, which is great to see how the business has evolved, but also a big part of the data adoption that we've had in the last year. So now going back to very specific, what these data points I mentioned in the beginning, I think I've given you enough context. So this is a screenshot of our website. First, first thing we do when we are going to book a flight, it's go on the, okay, so I'm going to go flight from New York to Mexico City, maybe one adult, and I'm going to look for this date. And then we go and click search. All of these searches, they leave a record. And then all of these records become like insanely valuable information with a lot of potential. So this is only one single point from the whole digital behavior from the, and they just the start of the funnel. So how do we make the best out of this single data point? So 1 year ago, we did not have this data point. We had this data point, but we were not using all the information that we were creating. So how does this data point or this interaction in the website becomes a data point? So this data point goes into data layer, right? And then this data layer is tagged by the Google Tag Manager, and then it goes to Google Analytics, and then we start building on top of that data point. But not like the data we all know that the data is not clean or ready to use. So we had to, and then we had to make sure that we have to clean it and then to make sense. So we got from these data points to 1 million data points. So we turned every single one of these records into a database of 210 million records. And it's just one interaction in our website. So if you can, this is all the total events and all the flight searches per month since last year until now. So if you see, we are creating more and more information on that, the interaction of our users. So what can we do with this data? Yeah, we can create a dashboard, but beyond the dashboard, then what can we really do as a business with this single data point, especially during times of COVID, when all the information that we can gather is it's cool. It will generate money, especially if we're not using it before. So what do we do with these 210 million records of this single data point? So building up the visualization and building up the value. So I particularly like putting this slide together when I was preparing for the conference, because it really shows all the interaction of the different technologies that we are using when it comes to data. So we have the data layer, and the source is captured, and then the data is tagged in Google Tag Manager, is pushing to Google Analytics, and then from Google Analytics, it's queried via an API with Alteryx, and then the data set is finally created. But now that data set is created, and now it goes to Alteryx. In Alteryx, we are cleaning data, and we are publishing at the Tableau Online data source. And that's where the point where we only can start building our visualization. So you see here, and that's something that I've been scrolling in the last years. Like building a dashboard is just not putting data together, it's making sense of all the assets that we have. And now finally, the last step, we can actually start building a nice visualization and a nice analytical tool for our business. So how do we start? Now we got to that point, how do we build the visualization? So something that might be as simple as this. So who is going to be using this data? So I think a very big bias that all people have when we work in data is that we just sometimes get so driven by data that we just forget who's actually going to be using this at the end of the day. What type of business decisions will they be taking? And what are the right measures that we want to display? And what and it goes down to do we choose the average? Do we
Liliana,
single data point? Now
your line drops, Liliana.
hello?
Liliana? Yes, your line drops. We don't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you, but I don't see your presentation.
Oh, okay. Let me share again my screen. I'm sorry. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you were able to hear me all the way here or before.
Yes, it was fine. Just the last 30 seconds we had problem.
Okay, and that just actually my question was when is the next time slot? Just to be cautious of time.
17:35 we finish.
Okay, great. So now how do we go from this particular point, and how do we turn all those records into actual business decisions? That's where it gets really interesting. So this is an interactive presentation that I'm gonna go now share my other screen and share you the actual dashboard in Tableau, but it goes beyond dashboard. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Great. So all of that process to create all of these different analytical tools. So I sometimes don't like to say the word dashboard, because then it makes people, it's just data, but it's actually an analytical tool. So what happened with these flight versions, and what's the actual use, and what's the potential that lies within these single data points. So it's I'll share some of the data insights that we get on an everyday basis. So we can get how many flight searches we have every day. We can actually see if the people is actually doing more and more flight searches. And remember, it's the first part of the funnel. So people haven't bought the ticket yet, but they are considering buying a ticket. So that moment where the person is thinking, I might go to New York, or I might go to Spain, or might go to Italy, then it already says a lot about what the preference about people, and when, especially with COVID. So we can see how many flight searches per day we have. If this is changing, of course, if we see this last year, then we have really few data points, because at some point people were not even browsing because everything was in lockdown. Make it a second. We can see now the week over week performance. So now let's go very specific. How are specific routes doing? So there's a lot of numbers here, but there's a whole methodology behind. We have benchmarked all of these numbers so that we can know if the increase or the decrease is good enough. So, for example, we see here the route. It is from a city called Monterrey to the United States. And then we had here a week over week increase just in searches of 50%. So already the business and route planning and revenue management, they can start seeing which specific routes they need more support, or they need specific pricing, or which routes might be falling actually behind, and they might have to cancel flights because they are not profitable anymore. So that's the full potential we have in just one single data point. And I promise we did not include anything else but that single registry in this. But other key thing that we can have, and it's also about our thinking and analytical process and how we make all this data easily digestible to our audience. And then what are they thinking when they are seeing it? So if I am a revenue management, I'm planning the routes, and I'm planning promotions for the next year, then I'm thinking, okay, yes, or the next month, then, but yeah, which routes they need support, or if I want to drive the demand now, where should I steer? So we can easily create routes and these rankings. So we can see here, for example, that our route Mexico Cancun is the #1 in a couple months, but not all the time. Or we see that it's always a winner. So maybe organically the people is looking for these routes. So we don't need to invest money on bringing searches or bringing traffic to the website for this route, because it will come naturally. But then what happens when maybe one of our key routes, say Guadalajara, Los Angeles, is dropping, and we would like it to be higher in the ranking for June. So we know that people is interested, but it's not as interested as they were in May, flying in May. Maybe we can get a promotion, and then we can get better pricing in June, so that people start buying more, and the actual search start also being higher, and we can start creating awareness that this route has a better pricing in June. So all this creates a huge amount of actionable point for the company and for making more money. which is actually even more relevant when you're a low-cost company, because then you have to make the best of the resources you have. What else do we see with one single data point? We can pull together demand curves. It is a second to the blog to So what are we comparing here? We are comparing here a specific route. We can compare any particular route, and we can see how many searches each of the month were done. So the first day of December, we had 9,000 searches, but the first day of November, we had 7,000. So already the month was not good. But then what happened, for example, when we start comparing like as the month goes by. So if we start seeing here January, we see that January was falling quite behind the other months. And it makes sense because it was the COVID, the second wave hit. So with all of this, we could see that we had to be more cautious with the investment. But we have started taking actions to prevent them like further drops in our sales. But we could already see that this particular drop in the interest in flights, it was already what was going to be shown in the sales revenue, in revenue and the booking from the passengers. So all of this again with that data point. Now now going now into the mindset of the consumer. So when are they want to buy? When are they looking to fly? So this is something that has brought a lot of attention because people in particular, the airline industry has a very different behavior per country. So because the user in some countries they plan more, in some countries they plan less. So that gives you also a lot less or more flexibility to plan your promotions. So how are they? With how many days in advance are they looking for flights? Are they looking already for flights for 3 months? Are they looking for flights for this current week? Are they looking for flights for within 2 weeks? And if so, if it's going like for the beach, or is it going destinations or other destinations? Is it like an international flight, or is it a national flight? So we create this interactive tool for the user. So if I am revenue management, then I can say, okay, we have this like 20% of the searches from the last 7 days are for beach destinations, but which destination is it? So if I just go click, and then it will filter out and it will say, okay, first it's Cancun, but it's quite spread within the other destinations. So we know that people is looking for flying in Cancun or to Puerto Vallarta or to I don't remember the other destination for the next week. Or if we go and say, okay, I want to know this long tail where they are looking to go, then I already see other type of destinations coming through here. So just teaching our users also and showing them the value of this creates a big difference. And what happens with international flights and national flights is pretty much the same. And then we see also, okay, so within 2 weeks or in the next 2 weeks, where people planning to go. So, okay, they are planning to go to Houston or to San Antonio or to Dallas. Does it make sense, or why are they looking for? Okay, it makes sense because now people is going into these places to get a vaccination, and they are considering doing it in the next 2 weeks. So we can get like so many valuable insights from this data. Now we go again, look at a window, and then we see, okay, I just want to get a number of how many days in advance they are looking to fly. Okay, so we can see like week over week, how this changes and how these patterns can change over time. So yes, like this week, our user is in average looking to fly within the next 2 months. And that's what we can all get from here. And if it's destination, international destination, or national, or is it a beach, or is it not? And we also see all these type of how can we influence also the behavior of the consumer? We have this peak here, for example, we have a huge promotion that we would pay like 20 euro cents for a flight, and then you just pay basically the taxes. So we can start seeing what it was to fly later on the year. So we can start seeing that it actually people start actually looking for flight for that destination. And one last not least, all the data points that we can get here is to get what part of the year they are like looking for beaches or for other destinations, so we can start actually planning up front. So we now know that 85% of our users are looking to fly in January. They are not looking for a beach, they are looking mostly for other destinations. But we see like somewhere in the summer it's a little bit different. So all the data, I'm gonna go back to the presentation, and then I show you all some like actual decisions that can be taken upon this, and how we make this valuable, and to adopt data as an input for decision making, and also help steer the company into a data-driven culture and adopt data as an asset itself. And then we have just here some very simple business opportunities. So for revenue management, we can identify price opportunities where people is looking for more flights or less. Route planning can start planning itineraries based on demand. Marketing can increase the awareness in low interest routes, or performance marketing can adjust the bidding in paid channels. And then this is just a tipping point for driving machine learning models in the future, that they can invest our performance marketing budget later on in a particular way, and then taking all of this data and all the different user patterns without any human interaction. And why did I choose to share this example? Because I found it really valuable and that's successful, and it's also based on the assumption that data is only as useful as your ability to translate it into the business decision making and meeting your user needs. So I could pull all of these different amazing charts on the distributions of the searches, and but that would not actually help business. So we translate it into the way the business can just read very easily. And second point is, as you can see, I'm quite aware, I'm quite a big Tableau fan, but despite the visualization tool you use to create your charts and all the different analytic tools, the power lies on its simplicity. And it's just really how can we tell that compelling like story to drive the decision making and drive success in our company. So I hope you like the use case, and then if you're interested, please let's stay in touch. You can feel free to reach out in LinkedIn. I don't know if there are any questions.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for the presentation, Liliana, giving life again back to us late afternoon. Questions, guys? So we are waiting for questions, please. Okay, so it seems there is no question. Even if yes, then you can discuss it together in the networking. Wait a second, we have questions. I have a question from Alessandro Altrix. Is there any ROI you can share based on analytics process?
ROI based on the investment on the tech stack, or ROI based on the decisions taken?
ROI is based if you have on the way that you were analyzing your data before and after you've started using Alteryx and Tableau, for instance.
Yeah.
How were you tackling these processes? You know, how long would it take to get your go-to-market going?
I think for us, and it's a very interesting question, because I think for first the initial phase for measuring the ROI was actually to go even one step behind. So we started measuring the actual adoption of Tableau